Actus Reus encompasses two main components. Voluntary affirmative act. This refers to a deliberate, conscious action taken by an individual that constitutes a violation of the law. Examples of voluntary affirmative acts include theft, assault, and vandalism, where the defendant actively engages in conduct prohibited by statute. Omission, failure to act. In addition to affirmative acts, Actus Reus also encompasses omissions or failures to act in situations where there is a legal duty to intervene or prevent harm. This may include situations where the defendant has a special relationship with the victim, such as a parent-child relationship or a contractual obligation, or where the defendant has assumed responsibility for the victim's safety. Legal principles and standards. In the realm of criminal law, the establishment of culpability and liability requires a careful examination of various legal principles and doctrines. Among these, causation, concurrence, and strict liability are fundamental concepts that play a crucial role in determining criminal responsibility. Several legal principles and standards govern the application of Actus Reus. 1. Causation. Causation refers to the causal connection between the defendant's conduct and the resulting harm or injury. For Actus Reus to be established, the defendant's actions must be the proximate cause of the prohibited outcome, either directly or indirectly. This principle ensures that individuals are held accountable only for the consequences of their actions that are reasonably foreseeable and within their control. Causation is typically established through two main tests. But-for test. This test asks whether the harm would have occurred but for the defendant's actions. If the harm would not have occurred but for the defendant's conduct, then causation is satisfied. Proximate cause test. This test examines whether the defendant's actions were the legal or proximate cause of the harm, taking into account foreseeability, intervening factors, and the scope of liability. 2. Concurrence. Concurrence is the principle that Actus Reus must coincide with mens rea, or the defendant's mental state, to establish criminal liability. In other words, there must be a union of the guilty act and the guilty mind to constitute a crime. This ensures that individuals are not held criminally responsible for unintended consequences or actions that do not align with their mental state. Concurrence requires proof of both the physical act, Actus Reus, and the accompanying mental state, mens rea, at the time of the offense. This principle serves as a safeguard against arbitrary or unjust prosecutions, ensuring that individuals are held accountable only for conduct that is accompanied by the requisite mental culpability. 3. Strict liability offenses. While most crimes require proof of both Actus Reus and mens rea, certain offenses, known as strict liability offenses, may impose liability based solely on the commission of a prohibited act, regardless of the defendant's intent or mental state. Strict liability offenses are typically reserved for regulatory or public welfare offenses where public safety or welfare is at stake. Strict liability offenses serve important public policy goals, such as ensuring compliance with regulatory standards, promoting public safety, and deterring harmful conduct. However, they also raise concerns about fairness, as individuals may be held criminally liable for actions that were unintentional or beyond their control.